Adaku, the village witch.
Once upon a time, in a village called Uduma, there lived a girl called Adaku. Adaku had lost her parents when she was very young. She was raised by a widow called Uju. Uju was labeled a witch in the village, and because she was childless, she had taken Adaku as her child after her own parents died. Because of this, the villagers shunned Adaku. They warned their children not to interact or play with her. Adaku was called the little witch because she was raised by Uju. One day, there was an announcement in the village that the prince was going to take a wife. All the medians were excited. All the parents, especially the mothers, began to get their daughters ready for the grand ball. Everybody wanted their daughter to be chosen as the prince's bride because this would automatically make her the king's queen when the king is gone. Adaku did not look forward to the ball because she knows that nobody in the village wants to associate with her. So why would the prince choose her? Also, she did not have the right clothes to wear. All her clothes were worn out and handed down to her by Uju. One day, Adaku went to the forest to get firewood. While she was picking firewood, she began to hear someone screaming in the deep forest. She was at first frightened, but somehow something motivated her to go towards the voice. As she got closer, the voice became more audible. She discovered that it was from a man. When she got closer, she saw a young man trapped in a hunter's trap. His leg was bleeding excessively from where it was caught in the trap. Quickly, Adaku helped to free the young man. She went into the forest and got some herbs to heal the wound. Before time, the bleeding stopped, and the young man was able to stand again. He was so happy and thanked Adaeze profusely. Adaeze smiled and told him, "It's my pleasure. My grandma had taught me how to use the herbs to heal. I am happy that you are safe." The young man smiled. "Let's meet here tomorrow," he said to her. "Okay," Adaku replied, smiling back at him. As she watched the young man leap towards home, she was happy to have helped somebody. The next day, she met the young man at the same spot. They chatted and she told him everything about her. The young man refused to disclose his identity, but they both enjoyed each other's company. As the days went by, Adaku began to see the young man more and more. She does not know his name, and he too does not know her name, and he did not care to ask her name either. Then, on another day, they agreed to meet, but Uju did not let Adaku to leave the house. "You are leaving the house every day at the same time. What is going on?" Uju asked. "It's nothing, Mama. I am going to fetch firewood." "Not again, Adaku. Every single day you are fetching firewood. Look over there at the heaps of firewood. We have too much of firewood already. Which other firewood do you fetch? Tell me what is happening." But Adako did not want to tell Uju anything. So she did not go anywhere. She was sad that the young man would come looking for her and would not find her. And true to her thoughts, the young man came to look for her, but he did not find her. He waited and waited and waited, and soon some other young men came to call him. "Your father wants to see you," they told him. So he quickly left with the young men. Uju could not go out that day, and the next day was supposed to be the grand ball where the prince chooses a bride. She wanted to go to the forest that day to have time to spend time with the young man since she could not make it to the ball. But she knows that Uju would not let her go. So she stayed back at home. She was sitting at the back of the house, working on some palm fruits when Uju came to her and handed a beautiful wrapper to her. "Oh, Mama," Adaku said excitedly. "What are these? Where did you get them from?" Uju smiled. "They are mine, my daughter. I had kept them for years, waiting to give them to my own daughter. But I never had her. So today I'm giving these wrappers to you to wear them and go to the ball. Go and have fun with other young maidens. Go and showcase yourself. Who knows? The prince might pick you as a bride and all your sufferings will end." "But Mama," Adako cried, "nobody in this village loves me. They will not want to come close to me." She said. "Adako," Uju laughed, "go with my blessings. It doesn't matter if everybody hates you, as long as you love yourself. It doesn't matter if nobody wants to associate with you, as long as you keep your eyes on the prize. So, my daughter, go to the ball and keep your eyes on the prize." Adako was so happy. She jumped into the old woman's arms, smiling and kissing her all over her face. She went and took her bath and quickly dressed up. Uju gave her some new beads as well. By the time she came out after rubbing uli all over her body, Adaku was a different person. She had transformed from the village girl everybody knows to a beautiful princess. Uju was so happy as she bade her goodbye, wishing her more lucks. Adaku left and headed to the village. As Adako passed through the village market, every eye turned to look at her. Both the young men and the old women and the young men, nobody could recognize her. Voices raised. "Who is she? Where is she coming from? Is she a princess?" Adago smiled, knowing that she would attend the ball and come back without anybody recognizing who she really was. As she got to the ball, the event was on full gear. The medians were dancing, so she quickly joined the line and began to dance. All eyes were on her as she displayed the beautiful dancing step. Her waist jiggled from left to right. Her body was so mesmerized with the different dancing steps that all the men turned their eyes on her. The prince stood up from where he had been sitting all the while the other maidens were dancing and whispered to his father, "I think I have found a bride. His father was happy and said, "My son, who amongst our beautiful maidens have you chosen?" The prince wanted to point at the beautiful lady dancing in the midst of the others, but then he remembered the village girl who had taken care of him in the forest, whom he had slowly fallen in love with, and he sat down and said to his father, "She's not here." His father was disappointed. "I thought you found someone, son," he said. "Yes, father," replied the prince. "I thought she was the one." He looked away sadly. By the time the music ended, Adako decided to quickly and slowly go back home without being noticed in the crowd. But as she turned to go, she saw the prince standing right in front of her. "It's you," he said. "You." "Sorry, I don't understand you, my prince," replied Adako. "How do you mean it's me? I have not done anything wrong. Please, I need to go home now." She tried to walk away, but the prince dragged her back. He took her hand and looked into her palms. He remembered the day she had hurt herself while trying to help him while they were playing in the forest. The mark was still there in her hand. "It's you, the healer. You are the one who had healed me in the forest. You are the lady I have been saying, the lady I have fallen in love with." Now, Adako began to recollect. She looked at his face, and it was then the picture came back. He was the same young man she had helped in the forest, the same young man she had longed to see every blessed day. "No, no, no," she screamed. "No, you can't be the prince. It cannot be you." Then she ran off. The prince tried to catch up with her, but she kept running. "Follow her! Get her!" he shouted to the guards, and they all ran towards her. But Adako was a fast runner. She ran and ran and ran. She went through the village market, and everybody who had seen her going to the ball saw her as she ran towards home, and they wondered, "Who is she? Why was she running?" And then they saw the guards, and everybody knew that the prince had chosen her and she had rejected. The prince, the guards, and some of the villagers who had followed through, immediately they saw her run into Uju's compound. Everybody hurt except the prince. "You can't go in there," the villagers shouted to the prince. "Why?" he asked. "The woman, she is cursed. She killed all her children. She killed her husband. She's a witch. That girl is the daughter of a witch." But the prince was not listening. "What is her name?" he asked the villagers. "Her name is Adako." "Adako," shouted the prince, "please marry me. I need you in my life." But Adako did not come out. It was Uju who came out. Everybody took some steps back except the prince. "What do you want, my prince?" Uju asked. "The maiden who ran into this compound. I seek her to be my wife." "You mean my daughter?" "Why? She's the rejected stone. Nobody wants to associate with her. They labeled me a witch because I could not have any child, and once I had died. I had lived in solitary all my years, and this girl had been the only source of joy in my life after I took her to take care of her when she lost her parents after birth. I am the witch, and you cannot marry my daughter." And then Uju turned back and went back into the hut. The prince was devastated. He refused to go. I am not leaving here until she comes out and follows me back to the palace. I have to present her to my father as my bride. When Uju came in, she saw Adako crying. I didn't know he was the prince, Mama, she said. I didn't know. Is he the young man you've been seeing in the forest? Uju asked. You know, Mama. Adako was surprised. Of course. I know you are seeing somebody when you keep going to the forest to fetch firewood. Oh, Mama. Yes, he is, but I didn't know he was the prince. I didn't know. I can't. I can't. Everybody thinks I'm a witch. I can't. No, you can, my daughter. He is your prize, and you have to go for him. Forget what people say about you. Forget how they see you. As long as you keep being a good version of yourself, you do not steal, you do not sleep around, you do not have a bad character, you are obedient, you are the best daughter in the world. Why can't you marry the best man in the world? Go out there, my daughter. Adako was so happy to hear these words from Uju. She hugged her and ran out and hugged the prince, who was about leaving in tears. He took her into his arms and twirled her around, and together they went back to the palace. The king, who was hearing for the first time that a young lady whom his son had chosen was labeled a witch for nothing, was so angry at the villagers. How could you all? He shouted at them. Such a pretty young girl, such a well-mannered young girl. Who knows what could have happened to my son if she was not there at the right time? Everybody asked for Adako's forgiveness. They also sought for Uju's forgiveness, and they were forgiven. The next 4 market days, Adako and the prince Ibe, whom she later found out was his name, got married, and everybody were happy for them. Uju moved from her hut to live in the palace with her adopted daughter, who had just changed her story forever. The end.
Thanks for listening to this story. Please do not forget to subscribe to this channel, click the notification bell, like and share. Also comment where you're watching from. We love and appreciate you. Bye.